Hey everybody, it's Jordan Angeli, and I am so excited to have a little bit of time here with head coach of your Columbus Crew, Caleb Porter. Caleb, how you doing?
Good, Jordan. Good to see you. Hope you had
Good to
a
see you too.
good off season and everything. We're here in Chula Vista. I'm sitting in my dorm room. Happy to spend a little time with you.
It flew by a little bit, right? The off season. It feels like it came and went pretty quickly, but how was your off season?
Yeah, it was kind of unique a little bit. It was initially going to be short, really short,
Mm-hmm.
so I think all of us just tried to rush away, um, because we felt it was going to be basically a 3-week off season and we knew we needed to recharge. And I got away with the family, went to Hilton Head where my dad and my brother live. And, that's kind of our spot where we go to get out of Dodge, so to speak. And
Sounds nice.
yeah, a good couple weeks. It was good. It wasn't like hot or anything, but it was at least warm, and it was good to get away and walk the beach a little bit. So then we came back thinking the season was going to start. And then obviously we learned that we had another 4 weeks. But that's not 4 weeks for a coach. We
Right.
have planning and everything. But I think in hindsight, it was nice to have that extra time,
Mm-hmm.
especially for the players. I think it's important when you win a championship and you go that far that you do recharge and reset. And I think the players, for sure, you can see this week, they benefited from that extra time.
And when you're talking about going away, are you going away and you're taking some time away from the game yourself too, or is there still those little things that you're trying to accomplish or thinking about when you're away?
Yeah, I try to turn it off. I really
Yeah.
do, because I learned that you have to, because when the season starts, um, there's no breaks at all. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's really, I don't think people quite understand once we start our season, for the coaches and the players, there are no breaks. We can't go and kind of steal 4 or 5 days and get away, or, at best we have, a day off every couple of weeks. And, every once in a while you get 2 days off in a row. And I think once a year you maybe get 3 days off in a row for 10 and a half months. So I learned that, you really have to get away, recharge, get your mind off it. And, I forced myself to do that this year.
Yeah.
But for sure, naturally you think about the season, think about the past season, you think about football
Mm-hmm.
all the time. But it was nice to get away from it. And certainly it's great to celebrate a championship. Uh,
Yeah.
it was, it was an awesome off season,
We
obviously.
didn't. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just, I mean, you had to, it's one of those where I think when you're so locked in on winning a trophy, I believe this, that when you're really locked in on that and you're locked in on the process, um, you almost just win it. And then you realize there's no game, there's no next game, and
Yeah.
you almost have to remind yourself, okay, wow, we're done. We did it, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this team was very much that way, very businesslike. We had planned to win it from day one. We were locked in on the process, and
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden there it was. We did it.
Yeah. Okay, I haven't got to talk to you since then. So I need to know, can you tell us one story from MLS Cup, the day of MLS Cup, something that happened that maybe not a lot of people realized or you haven't talked about that really sticks out to you as a moment that you'll always cherish?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think what I always think back on in those moments, which are incredible, when you
Mm-hmm.
have a chance with a group of men and a great staff, to do something like that, which is amazing. Very, very few players, coaches, and clubs have that feeling on that day. And when I think back on some of those moments, the championships that I've won with teams that I've coached and staffs that I've been with, um, I think what I remember are the on the field moments afterwards. Um, this one was unique for me because I sprinted down the sideline. I don't know where that came from. It
How
wasn't
long
like
has it been since you sprinted?
it. Well, my daughter didn't even know I could run, actually. So she actually, after the game, said, "Dad, I've never seen you run."
Oh my
And
gosh.
my knee, my knee was hurting for sure afterwards. But I didn't. It's not anything I planned. It was just one of those where, in the moment, I was just so happy for the fans on the pitch that I just wanted to, you know, be passionate and sprint down the sideline. But so I'll remember that for sure. But I remember the moments with every player on the pitch, because I do it for those guys. It's not for me, it's for them. And I was just so happy for them to be able to win that trophy, and for them to have that moment and that memory together. And then obviously in the locker room was unbelievable. I don't remember all of it, but it was
Whirlwind.
just unbelievable. The feeling with your guys, you're in that locker room so many days, right? It's 10 and a half months, like I said, and there's so many ups and downs, and the journey's incredible. But to be able to just celebrate with all your guys in that locker room is unlike anything that I have ever felt. And there's nothing that can duplicate it, really. There's no feeling like it in life.
Gosh, thanks for sharing that. And I think all of us just like reliving that day a little bit and remembering what it felt like, right? Because that's something that we never want to stop remembering. The last thing I have about your off season is you and your family got a new puppy. Do you think that Crew Cat is going to approve this?
I'm pretty sure that Crew Cat would probably eat my puppy because
It's so little.
little.
Oh,
Yes, I have to admit I'm a little dog guy. Used to
cute.
always had dogs my whole life. Loved dogs. My family had dogs. We always had big dogs, labs, and shedding and slobbering everywhere, and sporting
Over
type.
it.
Yeah, sporting type dogs. And I think the older I've gotten, the more we like my wife and I and the kids, we like the low maintenance dogs that are pretty easy, and
Yeah.
and it fits our lifestyle because we're so busy. So yeah, we decided to get another little dog. It's a
Right.
Yorkshire Terrier, really cute. So whatever the kids want, right?
I like
Whatever
that.
the
I
kids
like
want.
that. A lot of new signings. We'll get into the Cruise new signings too, but you mentioned you guys are in Chula Vista. Can you run us through what a day in the life of preseason looks like for you guys right now?
Yeah, we like coming out here to Chula Vista. It's very concentrated, so to speak. The campus is convenient. Everything's right here. It's a little modest. It's not like a luxurious hotel or anything, which we also kind of like starting the year that way, where we're all together. There's no place to go. There's nothing to do. It's just about the work and the football. That's it. And because in those first several weeks, you have a lot of teaching and building and meetings and video, you want to, place like this where, we're all together. Obviously the bonding component as well is really important. So long days, we start with double days. So we have a session at 10, we have a session at 4, breakfast early. And then obviously in between we'll have treatments and in some cases meetings. And then in the evening we have dinner, and we usually do like a meeting or team building at night. So it's long days, but I think it builds the base of what we want to do tactically. And it really forms, like I said, that chemistry and those bonds that we have for the rest of the year. It's going really well. This is an unbelievable group, and we're loving the process again. It starts all over again.
Yep. So would you say that tactical base is some of the things you expect to instill right now, or what are your expectations for this phase? Because there's kind of phases of preseason, it seems like, with the way it's set up this year.
Yeah, obviously gone through preseasons, and you learn how to refine your way of approaching it. And we like to break it up in essentially 3 phases. First phase, like I said, a little bit more difficult. I think I like the first part to be tough mentally, physically, tactically. And, I like that we're away and we're together versus one session, go back to your home and never see each other. We're around each other a lot all day long. And I think that's exactly what the guys need to start to build that base. I love that first stage because, we can really lay out our tactical periodization and teach our game model. For some guys, it's reteaching it. For the new guys, it's teaching it. And, you learn, how to teach it. And what I've learned is the best way. Not that it's better than anybody else or right or wrong, but what I like to focus on the attack and teach that for 3 days and then take that into a scrimmage. And then I like to go to the defending and teach that and take that in the next game. And then after that first phase, then we start to get into now factoring in the opponent. But the first part, we don't think about the opponent at all. We don't think about the result at all. It's all about the way that we play in terms of a game model, our methodology, all the concepts that relate to that. And it's fun because there's not really a result. There's not thinking about that. It's more about who are we, what's our identity. And I think the guys, really like, especially the ones that have been here, they like to be reminded of who we are and why we win. And they're proud of our identity and our style of play. And, it's been fun to teach the new guys as well. 8 new guys, 20 returning guys. So a lot of continuity, but every day has been really enjoyable. We put together videos as well, just to show every position, what we look for, our style of play, attacking, defending, our overall philosophy. And it's just really fun. Obviously I love winning. I love results, but I also like the teaching part of it.
Yeah. And one of the things I think people might not realize is the number of Crew Academy players who are with you guys in Chula Vista. Why is it so important to you to get these young players into this part of preseason specifically?
Yeah, we believe in our youth. We believe in our academy. We believe in our developmental pathway. We want to have young players coming through. It's important that we're winning now and we have a team that's ready to take the field and get results now. But it's important also that we have players in the pipeline that 2 years from now, 3 years from now can step in and play the way we want to play. And we believe that it's easier to prepare young players to play our system than it is to develop players that come in from the outside to play in our system. And we always like this time of year to get a look at the best guys coming through. Not to say that there won't be other guys that could be in the mix. It changes every year. But it's a little bit of I would say, a measurement of who's coming through and where do they stack up with first team players. And it's been great. We have 6 guys in. They also get to learn our philosophy. They get to work with the first team players and coaches. And it adds a little bit, I think, too, with the senior guys, a little bit of energy, competition to some extent. You would say maybe if you're a senior player, and awareness of the young guys and teaching them and helping them. So that hierarchy in a good way.
Yeah.
We're a family. And so in a family, you're going to have some young ones coming through and some senior ones that know what it's about, and I think that kind of blend is really fun in preseason, to have that right blend of youth and experience.
Yeah, it brings mentorship, but also, as you said, competition and a little bit of a fire to say, okay, we got to keep going here, no matter who we are.
Absolutely.
One of the things that has been talked about a lot over the offseason, Caleb, is what the Columbus Crew have done with their offseason signings. So a lot of pundits around the league have been talking about it. One of the best, I think, personally, if you look at the league and what teams have done, the Crew have gone out and signed some quality players within the league, outside the league. And I think let's start off with what was announced this week, the new player signing with Alex Matan. What initially interested you? Wow, is it interested? I can't figure out that word. Interested. Does that sound right?
Interested.
Yeah. Announced yesterday with Alex Matan. What initially interested you about him, and how is he going to fit into this group?
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, we always want to add quality players, and journalists and pundits are going to rank those signings. We don't care about that. At the end of the day, we're trying to add, people that are going to come into this club and elevate the level, increase our depth. And every single transfer window we want to improve, but there might be some windows where we need more and where we need less. So you could potentially win an offseason if you're a really bad team because you need a ton of things. We felt like after winning a trophy that we still could improve. We still had, budget to improve, and we wanted to make sure that we continue to get better. And so irrespective of what everybody says, we feel really good about the additions that we made. But you don't win a championship in the offseason, and everybody wants to make that a big deal. But ultimately what's going to win us a championship is the work that we put in with the group. If it was as easy as just kind of throwing players into a team and on paper saying, oh, this team is really talented, they should win it, then there are a lot of teams that would win it. And a lot of those teams don't win it. So we have to make sure that we follow our same process even though we do have a few more toys. Yeah. A few more toys this year, a little bit more talent in certain spots, more depth. But that's not going to on paper mean anything unless we put those pieces into place the right way, and unless we follow the same process. But I'll tell you this, Kevin Molino, special player. I already tell you, like after a week working with him, one of the most talented players I've ever worked with. Really, really good player. Bradley Wright Phillips, top pro, going to score goals. Nice to have a 1-2 punch, him and Giassi. Evan Bush, outstanding pro. Again, really good goalkeeper. With him and Aloy, we're set the 1-2 there. Perry Kitchen, fighter, winner, good guy, good pro, increases our depth there. Marlon Hairston, we feel like is a good fit. Still needs to learn the position a little bit defensively, but totally fits our profile. Great guy. And I think the common theme is going to be good pros, good guys, good pros, great character. And if we got it right, they fit our profile of what we want. And the competition is important. The depth is important. Matan is what you asked the question. Going back to the blend of youth and experience, it's important to have young guys that can come in with energy. Of course, we're very talented on the wings. We're talented, in our attack, but you can't have too much depth there. You sub a lot on those positions. And when you look at, Lucas behind him, that we really don't have a number 10 in that second spot, even to shape up every single day, like we like to do with 2 sets of 10s. And Matan will slide right in there with the second group. And that allows us to execute our style of play versus not having a true 10, behind Lucas. And then obviously, quickly our depth, could be a lot thinner in the international windows when Molino's gone, Derek's gone potentially, and Luis Diaz is gone. That's 3 wingers. So we felt like it was the right time, and we have a lot of experience in our group. I never believe you want to put young players in an environment in your team until you have basically the group set in a way where they can kind of flourish. And we felt like it was an optimum time to bring in young players.
I'm curious how that process works for you and the whole entire team with you that at the front office who's working on these acquisitions. Is it a constant process where you guys are looking at players all the time, or does it really ramp up when it gets closer to off season? You're thinking, okay, what can we do? Or the transfer windows, what can we do to get a player in now?
Yeah, I think we're always ahead of what we need.
Mhm.
You know, it's not like we wing it. It's not like we say, "Oh yeah, let's grab this player and throw him in," and yeah, maybe he'll work, or maybe we don't need him. It's always a plan of where are we now? Where are we going a year from now, 2 years from now? What players are we going to need? Um, where's the projected ceiling for a certain guy? You know, in terms of when we think their performance might start to decline and when we need a guy to step in. So it's a very methodical, collaborative
Mhm.
process with myself and Tim and Pat, um, building the roster and figuring out what we need. And again, I'll go back to profile. You have to get, if you have a clear way of playing and you have a clear profile, what you want in your system and game model, then it makes it a lot easier to figure out the type of players that you want. You just have to make sure you don't have too many senior guys with not enough succession planning. The other way that you got to be careful is too many young guys with not
Yeah.
enough experience. And so I love our roster right now, and I love the
Yeah.
blend.
When you're talking about blend, the culture is a huge thing for you and who the crew are as a unit. How have these new players come in and adapted and fit in with the culture that is established within this unit?
Yeah, really well, because we pick guys because one, they're good players, two, they fit the profile, and three, they have the character and professionalism that we look for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we don't bring in guys if they don't work hard, as simple as that sounds. We don't bring in guys that aren't good guys and good professionals, because it is the old saying, one rotten apple rots the cart, and you can get a couple guys in, even good players, that maybe don't work hard, or maybe are
Mm-hmm.
entitled, or maybe um, some coaches like that, they're okay with it. We would prefer to have guys that are honest, that work hard, talented as well. Like Lucas Zelleran is talented as ever, but good guy, good person, humble, and works very hard. And so we really make sure that that happens when we bring players in. So they
Mm-hmm.
always fit in. They always fit in really well.
I was watching Evan Bush chat on ColumbusCrewSC.com and speaking about how early in his career he really wanted to be reunited with you. And that was something that he still wanted to do up until now. We're seeing a few players come back and get to play for you again. What does that mean for you when you have these players who are eager to play and rejoin you once again at this stage in their career?
I've had a lot of players, obviously, that I've worked with, right? When you think about the years that I've
Mhm.
coached, and the amount of players, obviously, that at Akron went on to the professional level, the amount of players I coached in Portland.
Mhm.
I always say this: I never um, decide to recoach players just because I've coached them the first time. If that was the case, then I would take every single one of the players that I've had, and a lot gets made of that. But at the end of the day, really, I strip all those past interactions away, and I decide if this is the player that we really want and need at that point in time. If on top of that, there's the bonus that I know them and they know me, that's a positive. It's not a
Mhm.
negative, because there's already a relationship. And probably you'd say that those decisions are probably more educated decisions because you do know what you're getting. But I've never taken a player um, just because I know them and have already worked with them. And there are a lot of really good players that I've worked with in the past that, for whatever reason, I don't work with again.
Yeah.
But it made sense with Evan. We needed a backup goalkeeper. We needed a guy that could step into Champions League games, or when Ayla was gone, and we wouldn't miss a beat. And the same with Perry Kitchen. We needed depth in that position, a guy to balance out some of our young, sixes and eights that we have in our academy that we've signed, in Aiden and Sebastian and Parente. So it just really made sense for those two guys. And of course, they were free agents. So that allowed us to get them.
Yeah. And just, it was a nice thing that he said too, from Evan Bush to say that about you. So it was cool to hear as an outsider listening to that conversation. All right. This is,
you hope when you work with the guy
yeah,
that they want to work with you again. So
exactly.
it is nice. And I don't know, maybe after a couple of weeks with me, he'll say different. He'll say different.
So 2021, we're here. And, I know that this idea of back-to-back is not something that you think of each season as individual seasons. And the feat of back-to-back has not been done very many times in MLS history. 3 times, DC, Houston, LA, Galaxy in the 25 years. You won MLS Cup in 2015 with Portland. And what I'm curious about, Caleb, is what you learned from the 2016 season that helps you in the approach to this 2021 season.
Yeah, a lot. I learned a lot from that next year. And I would say even the championship I won at Akron as well the year after that. So I think the biggest thing, as simple as it sounds, is just keeping that knife between your teeth. It's natural to, it's the old greatest enemy of progress is past success. And the reason that's the case is psychologically. You do have, if you don't watch it and if you don't get back to your process, you have a little bit of natural stagnation and complacency because you did what you wanted to do and you feel like you've done what you've wanted to do and you've made it and you've arrived and now it's just going to happen again. Or maybe in some cases you're not hungry to make it happen again. And so that psychology, I think, is really important the year after you win a trophy. So what I learned is, like I said, you got to keep that edge, that little bit of tension, that hunger. You do that by making sure you have some new blood, some guys that bring that energy and hunger to win a trophy because they didn't win it. That also helps with the competition. Even your best players, they need that healthy competition every single day. It helps having new goals. The Champions League is a new goal. Depending on how it goes, Supporter Shield, some of these things increase that hunger and that little bit of energy. And then what I would say is, if you follow a process, just making sure that you follow that same process. Coaches, they tend to win a trophy, reward guys, and they don't grind them and push them like they did the year prior to win it. So they change, they get too comfortable and they let little things go that they didn't let go the year prior. And so I need to make sure that I continue to challenge and raise the awareness of these guys, how they get better every day. Obviously continue to push them, demand things from them in a good way, and not change my process and how I get the most out of these guys. That's very important.
And that was one of the things I was going to ask, because as a coach, I listened to a great podcast with you a couple of weeks ago about this talk of one of your goals, your main goals is just this continued growth of players, right? Personal growth, professional growth. And I was curious how you implement that coming off of such a successful year. And you're saying it's sticking to the details every single day.
Yeah. Keep the knife in between your teeth. Can't let your guard down. You got to keep pushing. And I would say, again, can you not try to get back to where you were? Can you go higher? Can you go farther? Can you get better all the time? Can I get better? If I want to get better, then they'll want to get better, right?
Totally.
And so I think it's really important. It's even not just having the same exact process, but maybe tweaking the process a little bit and seeing how you can improve on that process yourself. But I always believe if you create the right environment that's challenging and stimulating, but for sure fun and enjoyable, or they enjoy their work, then they'll come to work and they will keep improving. And like you said, that growth will occur.
Yeah.
But I think the roster, when you go back to winning the offseason, forget compared to everybody else. I think we won it more from a cultural standpoint in keeping the right amount of continuity and the right amount of kind of new blood and adding in that competition. That's really key. And at Portland, we ended up losing some key guys, and we never really got back to the level in the roster that we had when we won it. And in this case, not only do we maintain the guys that got us to that level, but we added players that are going to take us to the next level. You know, so I think that's where you get really, if you think about it, that's really where you're going to have your best chance in that off season a year after.
So that next level this year could include multiple trophies with CONCACAF Champions League, with US Open Cup, MLS Cup, Supporter Shield. There's a lot of things on the table. How do you, as a coach, prepare your team for a season where you're going to have more games than the previous year?
Yeah, I think, again, it feels good knowing that no matter what happens, whether it's COVID, hopefully, or injuries or international call-ups, that we have so many good players that we can go to. You know, I always think about the worst case scenario all the time. And you know, 2 years ago, it was if we didn't have our best 11 healthy, we had a very difficult chance to win games. Last year, I felt like even when we had injuries, even when we, you know, lost guys at international duty, I never felt in any game that we played that we couldn't win it. And I think that's the same this year. You have to have that depth. You have to have multiple guys, 1, 2, even 3 in every position that can step in. And if every day you're pushing everybody to be better and be ready and to play, then it'll be really fun to kind of figure out who we picking for league, who we picking for Champions League, who we picking for Open Cup, even who we picking. Everybody's healthy, and who's the best group, you know, right now, who's performing. And so I think that's going to be really enjoyable to just have a lot of options.
Yeah. How do you as a coach manage that? Because you have to choose a starting 11, but that could be totally different during an Open Cup week, a midweek game in Open Cup, to know that every player on your roster is, you know, that they're capable. How do they know that, you know, they're capable of stepping in and performing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think the first thing I say to every player is you're here for a reason. And, you know, it's not a first team, second team. It's one club, and we need everyone, and everyone's important. And I always tell them, you'll see, you know, obviously I'm telling you words, but you'll see in actions that that's the case, that I value every single one of you, and you all are here for a reason to play and help us win games and win trophies. And so what I'm excited about is I'm going to be able to reward a lot of guys with playing time. You know, the toughest thing for me is when I love all these guys and I can't reward some of them in games like I want to. So in looking at the year and the amount of games we're going to have, I'm really excited that I know they're all going to get games. And I think that's going to create an energy and a spirit in the locker room and an ownership and, you know, really in our goals and the trophies that we're trying to compete for. That's going to be really fun from week to week. And I think in training, these guys are going to know, okay, even though they're not maybe shaped up with what they think is the top group, they're probably going to play 4 or 5 days from now, you know, in a game. Maybe it's Champions League, maybe it's league. And so they'll be ready. And I think they'll be working harder than ever in training to be ready.
I keep hearing fun, Caleb, and I like that. This is supposed to be fun, right? It's supposed to be fun. And I love that that is something that you keep saying, because I know that is part of the culture there. Another fun thing that's happening with the Columbus Crew this year is all these new buildings. We're getting all these new venues. And I think I want to start with the training facility. From your point of view, why is this training facility, how does it add to the overall culture and just the leveling up of the club?
Yeah, it's really important to have infrastructure and facilities to support your high performance players. You know, we have really talented players, but you need facilities to support their performance, you know. So when you look at the day to day, really, I'm very excited about the stadium, obviously, because game day, downtown,
Yeah.
I can just imagine a packed house and you know, a crowd that's just really intimidating. But I have to say, I'm equally excited about this training ground because really every day that's where we work. And that pitch, the facilities, the training room, the gym, the theater that we're going to have, the locker room, everything that's going to be so important and so enjoyable every day.
Yeah.
You know, we've been working on Elbets, and you know, we want to obviously pay homage to that facility. It was been a great facility for our club, and but this new facility is going to be state of the art, and it's going to be one of the best in Major League Soccer. And I think it's going to take our players, their performance to a different level.
I love that you brought the stadium up. You know, I was going there next, and I feel like stadiums and MLS just continue to one up each other. And this stadium is going to be the best of the best. And I'm curious from your standpoint, through the walkthroughs that you've gone through, what are you excited to see about it? And you've already mentioned that you've envisioned a game at that stadium. Can you take us into some of those details that you feel what it's going to be like on the pitch for you and your players?
Yeah, I think, again, when you look at the best environments in Major League Soccer, they're downtown stadiums. And, you know, this idea of, you know, it being on the weekend, you know, a really important day in our city, you know, that weekend and that home game, and, you know, having it downtown where they can make a night of it and go. And, you know, I know with COVID, it's a little more difficult, but we're hoping soon that will change. But being able to just go and have dinner and have a few drinks and walk to the game, that's really what the best stadiums are like in any sport, really. So I think with the city that we have, the energy we have, it's going to be a complete game changer for our matches. And we can't wait. We can't wait to get there. We know we have 3 or 4 games, you know, at I'm not allowed to say Mafra anymore, but
At the
anyway,
stadium.
yeah. What are they calling it? Historic Crew Stadium or something? I don't know. But anyways, Mafra. It'll be nice to get kind of, I think, a closing there at that stadium with 3-4 games. But then I think the energy that we'll have in that new stadium will also be important for us this year.
And the way that second tier is just like on top of the field, I bet you can't wait to just feel what that's like, coaching a game and seeing your team play in that arena or that stadium.
Yeah, it's important for our supporters. You know, the they've been the soul of the club, and it's great for them to finally have some new digs and take pride in that stadium. Obviously, it's their fortress, and we're going to play on the pitch extremely hard to try to give them joy and wins and results and trophies in the future. So it's their new church, and can't wait to get out there. But we have to remember, you know, we're not going to be there till July. So we've got games to play on the road. We got to get results. We have games to play in the old stadium. We got to get results.
Yep. All right, Caleb, this has been so fun. I've got one more thing for you. We got to leave the supporters listening on a high note. So I got to fill in the blank for you. The 2021 season for the Columbus Crew will be
hopefully a trophy. I mean, that's a simple thing of what we want to do. You know, it's every year. That's what we prepare for. It's what we plan for. It's our process. And we have a vision to win another trophy or 2. But we're not getting ahead of ourselves. That's for sure. We know it's going to be hard work, and we know it doesn't happen very often. But we're going to work really hard as a club, as coaches, as players, to bring another trophy, because on these players' watches, their legacy, my legacy. Those are the things we want to leave in this club. We're stewards of the club. Yep. And whether it's 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, we want to look back and we want to see trophies that we put in the trophy case. So we're going to attack every day trying to do that.
Caleb, thank you so much for spending some time with me during preseason. Best of luck here as you guys continue to navigate the next month. And we just can't wait to see you guys back on the pitch in Columbus soon enough.
Great. Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate it as always.